But one thing, I guess, at the end of round 6 finally got there, is we're out of the bye rounds. Some people aren't a big fan, particularly when your club's not playing that week, and I guess this is all subsequent from opening round and the flow-on effects, but we finally hit some parity with, I guess, the end of the week that's coming. But no more bye rounds, 9 games a week. Yeah, happy? What's your kind of final verdict on bringing in opening round, but then also having, I guess, 4 or 5 rounds of, clubs with, I guess, having buys throughout the first, 7 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, one, and I think I've said this before, I love the concept of opening round, just spreading the game across all states and all parts of the country. I think it was a great initiative from the AFL, doing something different. So obviously, they've brought in, what's the place in Adelaide there? Gather-round. Cheers, I was going to say Gather-round. Sorry about that, guys. Just had a mental brain fade there. Long weekend. But yeah, opening round, I loved, just trying something new, experimenting. I think Andrew Dillon wanted to try something new to kind of stamp his, I guess, stamp on the game. Jeez, I'm really stuffing up at the moment. But, with, the introduction of it, there was going to be some sort of growing pains. And we did notice that maybe the first couple of weeks with supporters not enjoying their clubs, maybe having 1 or 2 games in the first couple of weeks and having the game off. I think Carlton and Brisbane were round 2 after only playing the first 2 games of the season. So it was a little bit interesting initially to take on. But looking back now, I think the AFL did really well in making sure that the fixture was as equal as possible. As we just realised or noticed, Melbourne and Richmond had the bye just the weekend gone, and they've got a Wednesday match up for the Anzac Day Eve clash as well.
One, yeah.
So I think in terms of that and looking at it holistically, I think it was a success. I'm sure there probably is areas of improvement, but I think for the first time round, I think it's actually been quite good as an initiative that the AFL can continue going forward in next year and beyond.
Yeah, I don't think there will be too many clubs that would complain that had the buys, or we didn't hear any. Not many that really lost momentum, as you mentioned. They either took bad form into it and brought bad form out of it, or went in pretty strongly into a break and were really able to make any adaptations that they needed, and then came out again pretty strongly on the other side of the bye. So not like what we've seen in the mid-season with that kind of post-bye curse, which I think might be a bit of a myth anyway, especially over the last few seasons. But yeah, I think mostly positives. Opening round was a success, and then a lot of questions were going to kind of be, why is my club playing this week and it's round 2? Which, fair enough, I get you kind of want to build something quite early. But like I said, there was no real issues in the wake of those clubs having those buys. As you mentioned, yeah, Richmond and Melbourne having to play on a Wednesday night for Anzac Eve in a traditional clash, having them have the break and no really short turnaround works. Collingwood had the break the week prior, so they were fresh enough heading into Saturday's game against Port Adelaide. And yes, a 5-day turnaround isn't nice, but you get a couple of them a year. And I guess that's another thing that the AFL have had to manoeuvre around, is having each club have their 5-day breaks, and some of that kind of was alleviated with the bye rounds. Another one as well, while it was most weeks it was just 1 less game, it just seemed like there was a good amount of footy. Like, I'm not saying we can really have too much, but less games where we've got 2 games on at once and clashing, and really it's just 1 game ends and straight into another. So went with 9 games back this week. We'll probably have a couple more clashing on Sunday nights and maybe Saturday nights and maybe Sunday afternoons. But yeah, it just seemed 1 game finishes, another game started. So for footy lovers, they weren't having to pull up a few screens and watch a few games at once. So yeah, overall big tick for me as a final verdict for, I guess, opening round and the flow-on effects that the bye rounds had and came with it.